Hello, nerds. We are back for another live stream. How was your holiday? In chat, Chris, you've changed your name. Ninja Rat. Is that a Ninja Turtles reference? So, unlike usual... sorry, I'm distracted by things. Unlike usual, we were not delayed this time because of technical issues, though I guess technically there is one issue that's driving me a little bit nuts, but I'm not worrying about it right now. I just was legitimately running late, so I apologize. This week, we're going to be diving into, later in the stream, we're going to be talking about the Variety 100 funniest movies of all time. We're going to be talking about how off base they may or may not be. We have an update on the situation with the purchase of Warner Brothers Discovery, or Warner Brothers specifically. We have a bunch of smaller things. Let's see, what do we have? That's another thing on this. We have some Stranger Things stuff to talk about because the first part of Season 5 has released, so we're going to talk about that. A couple of updates on other movies we've been keeping movies and shows we've been keeping tabs on. And yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at as far as the roadmap for this episode is concerned. Before we do get there, we have to do the obligatory merch push. Oops, that is the wrong button. What do you need? Food for him? My dog's food bowl is missing. I do not see it. Yeah, obligatory merch push. Sorry, distractions. We're doing this. Ha ha ha. So, here we are. Obligatory merch push. These guys right here, this design. Okay, sorry. So, yeah, like I said, these guys right here. New design. Newest design, I guess, is probably more appropriate. Pretty proud of it. It's pretty great. You can go check it out a little bit just to kind of push the issue a little bit more. It's Music Nerd. It is the Phantom of the Opera. That is some pretty crazy death metal font that I have designed for said shirt, and I'm ordering one. For myself, because I have not yet, because the way Teespring, or Creator Spring they're called now, is set up, I have to pay in order to get samples of my own stuff, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So I am going to be getting one now. I've gotten to that point where I have figured it out. So yeah, go check out the merch store, linked down below. We have the generic, or what did I call these? Basic nerd. Yeah, these are the basic nerd designs, so it's just the, which category are you the biggest nerd in, and then the little nerdy ninja on the back with the thumbs up. And then channel partner Dubby. We have s'mores flavored Dubby energy drink, which is deceptively good. They just ran, you just missed their Black Friday deals. It was 50% off the entire website. Let's go to the homepage. Maybe they're still running some sort of deal. Nope, not running anything right now. But It is scary good. So s'mores is an all-time classic flavor. It is just good, something that is going to change the way you think about your energy drinks. But also my new favorite, like I really like their Calio cream because it's an orange creamsicle, and that's one of my favorite soda flavors just in general. But the Tiger's Blood, I'm telling you, this one's don't sleep on the Tiger's Blood. The coconut just does a little bit extra. It kind of hits just right. So yeah, big fan. I mean, I legitimately have 3 tubs in my kitchen right now. I have a Dubby just about every day. So why is Dubby different? Well, because they sponsor this channel, but also no sugar. So that's huge because a lot of energy drinks that you drink, that you get from the gas station, the grocery store, whatever, have a boatload of sugar in them, and sugar in that kind of quantity is poison to a certain degree. I am not a medical professional, so do not take my word for it. If you have caffeine sensitivities, by all means consult with your physician first. But just the excess amounts of sugar that we ingest, largely, like I honestly switched to sugar-free energy drinks when I first started on my healthcare journey. Health and fitness journey, I guess, is the more appropriate way to put that. That was the only thing I changed at first, and I dropped 13 pounds in freaking the first 3 months. So sugar is a lot. But so there's no sugar. You have 2 different kinds of caffeine, so it extends the life of the energy that you get from the caffeine. The anhydrous is the manufactured caffeine that hits you real quick, and then they have a natural source of caffeine from coffee berries, which is you digest slowly, you process rather slowly, so it extends the amount of energy you get, and it minimizes the crash. There is no sugar for a sugar crash. It's just a really legit mix in drink. I'm a fan. Anyway, we spent too much time on the sponsor. Let's get into the news. So, like I said, first things first, we are talking about Netflix getting out of the game. So Netflix's hopes of acquiring Warner Brothers may have just hit a wall, according to the New York Post. Senior White House officials recently held a closed-door meeting in which they raised serious antitrust concerns over Netflix's bid to acquire Warner Brothers and the HBO Max streaming platform. The officials suggested that a full-scale investigation in Netflix's market dominance may be warranted, which would be a potential death blow to the streamer's chances. Yeah, that's kind of what we've been hinting at ever since Netflix became a legitimate potential buyer in this situation, because they do own so much of the market share. This would kind of give them dominance over everything else. The only streaming service that would really stand a chance after that would be Disney, and that's just because Disney has Disney money. Like, there's no other way around that. If that were allowed to happen, if Netflix were allowed to purchase Warner Brothers and therefore HBO Max, eventually they would potentially even be able to kick Disney out of the game, just because Disney would see how not profitable that model is, and they would cede ground to Netflix. Which, honestly, there's a certain element of me that says, I don't know how horrible of an idea that is, so long as it becomes a platform. Like, they're never going to compete. Like, it'll never be 100% monopoly, because YouTube will always be a thing. Well, maybe not always. We're talking about extenuating circumstances that not very likely to come into play. But YouTube will kind of always be there, so it will never 100% be a monopoly. But definitely unique antitrust concerns are warranted. So the article continues. A government official present at the meeting said the consensus was clear. Netflix presents unique antitrust concerns. The concern is that adding HBO Max and Warner Brothers to Netflix's already dominant streaming empire would stifle competition and further consolidate power in Hollywood. It wouldn't kill Google. Like, it's just not going to kill YouTube. As long as it becomes a platform and other production houses are allowed to contractually put their IP on Netflix's platform, I really, it's just a channel at that point. It's just like Comcast cable back in the day, or satellite TV, or anything like that. It's just streaming TV now. So, like, there's a way that this could work, but it still is a little uncomfortable. Power in Hollywood. Officials even floated the idea of broader probe into Netflix's entire business operations, likening it to the types of investigations seen with tech giants like Google and Amazon. I think that is a little bit more appropriate, putting them at that level, especially if they were allowed to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery. The Trump-aligned regulators appear increasingly skeptical of Netflix's proposed legal argument of category ambiguity, which claims antitrust laws don't apply to streaming due to platforms like YouTube and TikTok. See, they are kind of go for that angle. While the theory has reportedly won over some Warner Brothers Discovery board members, it's falling flat with those advising President Trump on the media and tech policy. If Netflix somehow wins the bid, insiders say the deal would face a brutal years-long review by the DOJ under Trump's appointee, antitrust chief Gail Slater. The investigation could potentially expand beyond the acquisition itself and examine Netflix's entire platform and practices, something the company has managed to avoid so far. Where did we leave off? Right there. Sorry, distractions again. It's another reason why Paramount Skydance remains the leading bidder. It faces far less regulatory resistance due to its Trump ties and intention to buy all of Warner Bros. Discovery, not just the studio and streaming division. Oh, I don't know that we saw that delineation before. So that's new information right there, is that Netflix is just trying to buy the studio and streaming division. They're not trying to buy the whole kit and caboodle, it would seem. So that makes a lot more sense then, too, why the DOJ would be interested in what Netflix was doing. Paramount's still in the lead with a second round of bids due Monday. So yesterday, I believe, because this is a couple days old. No, next Monday. Okay. Paramount Skydance is expected to raise its offer from the previous $23.50 per share as it continues to push to win over the Warner Bros. Discovery board. Comcast is also expected to sweeten its bid through its MSNBC baggage, though its MSNBC baggage continues to make approval unlikely under Trump. MSNBC is no longer, well, no, they are still part of Comcast, but they're no longer MSNBC. They're MS Now. We covered that before we got into the after the off season, but yeah, that's officially taken hold. I was just at the gym, and it's laughable how bad their programming is getting. Anyway, Netflix may still submit a higher revised proposal, but the regulatory cloud now hanging over could render the effort futile, with both U.S. and likely European regulators set to push back. Netflix's path to acquiring Warner Bros. Discovery is looking increasingly closed. Like, the larger part of me is still happy that is the likely situation, but like I can see how it could be turned into a net neutral situation. I don't know that it would ever be a net positive, but a net neutral is possible. Continuing with this is more information on this. This is a little bit older, so some of this we might have already negated some of this article. But we have report claims President Trump's influence gives Paramount the edge in bids for Warner Brothers, while also helping revive the career of Brett Ratner and the Rush Hour series. That's right, there is officially a fourth Rush Hour movie, or is it a third? No, I'm pretty sure it's a fourth. We'll get into it. Paramount Skydance. Oh wait. Oh, no, we're still talking about this, so whatever. Paramount Skydance is the alleged frontrunner. We already know this. In the battle to purchase Warner Bros. Discovery, and they reportedly have the President of the United States to thank. Their friendship, the Ellison family, who own Skydance, has with Trump. These are all things we have already covered. Of According to New York Post, it's not their association by itself giving Ellison the lead. The Ellison's bid sweetened by the fact that they are willing to buy all of Warner. So again, this is not something that was we reported on previously, because it was just that we're talking about the people who are bidding for the company. I don't remember seeing, because we read every article, right? So I don't remember seeing the delineation that some of these companies are only trying to buy studio and streaming, and some of these companies are trying to buy the entirety of the company. So that is a pretty big delineation. They're willing to buy all to the last component, including CNN. To them and Trump, the cable news dinosaur started by Ted Turner is still worth saving for its untapped potential. I would have to concur, because it has less of a stigma in the eyes of normies. So yeah, there is potential for CNN. That's not to say that CNN is good right now, but that's a whole other conversation. Quote, they see CNN, warts and all, as a very profitable business worth saving, says the Post. Trump, meanwhile, desperately wants CNN, whose correspondents regularly spar with him at the White House and on Air Force One, neutralized and out of its anti-MAGA coverage, one top broadcast executive recently told. Under Ellison Skydance's leadership, it's said Trump believes CNN will go MAGA, much like Paramount reportedly is, and as the Ellisons will hire people who, quote, squeeze left-wing bias out of its news programming. Because of their biases, the POTUS has not been CNN's biggest fan while he's been in office, and there are anchors there that he would like to terminate. Yeah, that's fair. I think we're playing a pretty dangerous game if the only motivating factor for changing CNN is just to eliminate left-wing bias. I think you're just going to create another Fox News, and then it's just going to have the same result on the other side this time. Like, you can't completely eliminate these things and still expect it to be a business model worth saving, to use their words. So I don't know, this seems a little bit too far in the other direction. However, its ambitions might extend beyond turning around the one 24-hour news channel. Another report claims Trump wants to reshape popular culture, especially at the movies. This is something that, again, has been alluded to with this whole situation previously, and is something that a lot of conservative, center-right media outlets are really taking note of. You have in the podcast space, the YouTuber space, the new media space, I guess is the way we're referring to it now. You have the rise of things like Timcast. You have the rise of the Daily Wire, for sure, because their big push for the Pendragon Cycle series, which I guess I'm correcting that right now. Pendragon is a series, not a movie. I said in the last pre-recorded episode that it was going to be a movie, and then I did a short about it, and then I was corrected in the comments, and have since realized that it is going to be a 7-part series, is not going to be a movie. Either way, it's still getting good coverage from legacy media outlets, which is really cool. But Daily Wire becoming so prominent, Angel Studios becoming pretty well known at this point, like all of these things, it is conservative-minded people or conservative-adjacent people who are realizing that a big part of the reason why it has been such a hard road to get reason and logic into the brains of the masses is because the left has held on to popular culture with a death grip for so long that is how most people are informed. A lot of people, majority of people, I would venture, do not actually watch news-related programming. They get whiffs of the news from their pop culture. So when you have late-night hosts who are insane lefties who are crying because they're getting canceled because nobody's watching their shows anymore, the few people that are watching their shows only see what those types want them to see. So this is definitely something that am interested that it is being reported. I don't know how much I believe 100% that Trump wants it to go to the level, or is the one who's saying that we need to control culture. But it's interesting that it's being reported that way, because that means it's at least in the White House somewhere. Whether or not it's actually coming out of Trump's mouth or just a mouthpiece of his remains to be seen. But it is something to be aware of. I think we're definitely seeing a push towards reasonable culture and art and such. Anyway, continuing on. However, his ambitions might extend, especially at the movies. In no uncertain terms, the president wants to see more action on the big screen, the helicopter chase, and buddy cop variety. For that reason, he is pushing for Rush Hour 4 per Semaphore. What is Semaphore? Is a news outlet that I was unaware of. How Trump is trying to remake American culture, starting with Rush Hour. Interesting. Other than a love for the Jean-Claude Van Damme martial arts trendsetter of dubious inspiration, Bloodsport, Trump's fixation on this dormant series seems to stem from a partnership he has formed with its producer, Arthur Sarkeesian, and its director. Rush Hour originated with disgraced filmmaker Brett Ratner, who was dumped by WB over misconduct charges during the heat of the Me Too movement. Work dried up fast, and his production company, Rat Pack Dune, was shuttered. Lately, Ratner has experienced a slow comeback thanks to an upcoming Amazon documentary following none other than First Lady Melania Trump. Sarkeesian also recently partook in a documentary that flatteringly depicted her husband, so there could be a quid pro quo. Interesting. Some are hoping Trump's aid in media maneuvers behind the scenes could usher in the return of the Snyderverse. This is, again, something that we covered rather extensively last live stream. Only proof of this is even possible. Sorry, I totally added words into that. The only proof this is even possible is he really liked Ben Affleck's Batman. Oops. What's going on? No. Okay. Zack Snyder's activity on Instagram might be a sign the director knows the tide is shifting behind the scenes in his favor until Warner is sold and the Snyderverse is brought back to life officially. No one can say that is the case. Interesting. And then I think we have one more piece with this. Yeah. This is related, but I don't know by how much. We have two more pieces. We'll go with this one first, though. We're going back over to Cosmic Book. So this one is a little bit older. This comes from last week when we didn't do an episode. So we would have talked about this a week ago had we done an episode last week. But it is Zack Snyder's Endgame teaming with Russo's for Marvel versus DC. This is a rumor, but it ties into this from what I can see. Anyway. I've been told, not only I being the author of this article, Matt McGloin, who is the operator of Cosmic Book News, you should read the stuff. Also, check out, he has a review site, Stinky Garbage. What was it? Where is it? Stinky Garbage, I think. Cha-cha-cha. Yeah, Stinky Garbage. Go check it out. It's great stuff. Anyway, let's go back to... I hate it when I do that to myself, and I do it all the time. So, there's that. All right, so Marvel vs. DC movie is what this rumor is all about. I've been told not only is the Snyderverse in play for a full return, again, related to what we were just talking about, but there have also been discussions about a Marvel vs. DC project involving the Russo brothers. Quote, they threw around ideas to do a DC Marvel film, said our source, who previously filled us in on the Daredevil Born Again retooling news, the real ending of The Flash, and more. I'll admit this one is a long shot, but the timing lines up. Here's how. Russos are back at Marvel. The Russos are officially back at Marvel, directing Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Rumors say they'll stay with Marvel after Secret Wars 2 to guide the MCU's direction. At the same time, we are told that Zack Snyder is returning for the Snyderverse, backed by the Saudis who want a Snyder-level event. That's not what that article originally said, to rival Marvel's big Avengers movies. They want an Avengers level event, is what the quote was. There's no question both franchises were stronger when they were competing. The MCU was at its best with the Russos, and Snyder's DCEU was far more successful than anything DC released after Justice League, which Snyder had no involvement. That's, again, not true. Not the competitive and more successful stuff, but Snyder did have involvement in the Justice League. He filmed about 70% of the movie that we saw. It's just when he had to leave, because I think it was the death of his daughter or something, when he had to leave, they brought Joss Whedon in to finish it, and Joss Whedon butchered the hell out of it and then got canceled. So we don't have to deal with Joss Whedon ever again, which to a certain degree is kind of sad because, you know, Buffy. Also, recall how the Russo brothers interviewed Zack Snyder. They love the guy. I don't remember that, actually, but okay, I'll take your word for it, Cosmic Book. Still told, James Gunn is out once Warner Brothers Discovery sale goes through. The New York Post reports Skydance Paramount is the front runner, in part because of Donald Trump's relationship with CNN's New Direction, and that alone tells you everything about Gunn's future. No, it doesn't. It certainly leans very heavily towards Gunn's future not being with Warner Brothers should the sale go through in a certain manner, but we don't have any guarantee that the sale is going to go through that way. We don't have any guarantee that they're not going to allow Gunn to stick around, assuming he plays by certain rules. Like, there's a lot of plates in the air with this. There's a lot of factors here. I was told directly, if Skydance Paramount buys Warner Bros. Discovery, Gunn will be forced out if he doesn't resign first. Variety already confirmed Paramount is going MAGA. How does Gunn's divisive DCU fit into that when he's had characters claiming Nazis love Jesus and equating our real world with a Nazi world? It doesn't. They did that in the comics forever ago too, and like, we came out of that just fine, so I don't understand why the fascination. Like, again, I do realize the Snyderverse did well, sure, but would it have continued to do well once they finally got into a Batman movie? So the big thing here is Snyder's issues with the source material, while they are not as egregious as Disney's issue with their source material coming from Marvel, they are still pretty bad because we have Superman killing somebody, we have Batman using guns and killing people. Like, these are core tenets of these characters, and if the movie that we got, the Batman versus Superman movie and then the Justice League movie, if those two movies that dealt with Batman directly, well, as a secondary character to a certain degree, if those two movies got that much wrong, like just these core elements of these characters, also Pa Kent told Clark, I guess, not to save people sometimes because he might be found out, instead of the message of you have to learn that you can't save everyone all of the time. It's physically impossible. Like, those are two very different lessons to be doling out to your superpowered child. Like, these are core elements of these characters. So while, yes, there were a lot of things that were monetarily they were doing much, much better, economies change. People are less likely to go to the movies these days for a plethora of reasons. I'm not going to blame COVID for this, because that's not the issue. The issue is people don't have the same amount of expendable income. They don't have the cash in their pocket to justify going to the movies anymore because the economy was so bad for 4 freaking years, for a little bit over 4 years. Again, that would factor COVID in slightly, but it's more of a political thing. It's more of who was leading the country at the time. We just don't have, collectively, we don't have the money to go out for entertainment. I think if James Gunn had been the one to do it when Snyder did it, and then the roles were reversed and Snyder was the one in charge now, there is a little bit of an argument to be made that Snyder would be still doing better than Gunn is doing, but not as good as he was pre-COVID. Like there is evidence for this because of the growing faction of people who disliked the Snyderverse for the exact reasons I just laid out, and for many others, because he's kind of a budget, or not really budget Michael Bay, but he is like Michael Bay version 2.0. He has a little bit more understanding of characters, but not much. Anyway, it's kind of long rant for what's going on here. I just we're just looking too surface level. There's a lot more at play here. There's a lot more reasons why these things are performing the way they are. Also, lost the international audience. Snyderverse China fans return, Gunn Superman flops. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Oops, I did not mean to click on that. Don't do it. We're not reading that article. I apologize. Anyway, there's no doubt why Warner Brothers Pictures dated the Minecraft sequel only 2 weeks after Gunn's Man of Tomorrow in 2027. Which is fair, because Minecraft is going to be a huge sequel. Like, that's undeniable, I feel like. Meanwhile, Snyder posted that Superman Henry Cavill tribute image on Veterans Day. Snyder knows exactly what's happening. Snyder, quote, Snyder has been purposeful. He's posted a Superman tribute with the American flag on Veterans Day, which signals he aligns with certain values, and Gunn didn't, which is surprising for the face of DC, says the source. So, if the Snyderverse returns, which is still, in my humble opinion, a fairly big if. It's not as big as it once was, but it's still fairly big. If the Snyderverse returns, Zack will be able to finish his Justice League storyline, which I legitimately would be intrigued to see, because we got that 5-hour thing that's kind of a slog to watch. It was originally supposed to be 5 Justice League movies, so I wonder if he would make 2 more to kind of iron out some of those issues. Told DC will likely undergo another reboot afterward, presumably. Even with talk of a reboot, it sounds like Marvel vs. DC isn't dead. It's been floated before, and even Gunn has mentioned the idea. They threw around the ideas to a DC Marvel film, said our source. Even Gunn wanted it. But our sources don't know if Marvel vs. DC is still on the table now that the Russos are steering Marvel's next 2 Avengers movies, and Snyder is gearing up for his Justice League return. I feel like that's something that could be done as an Elseworlds in the movie world, right? Like, the Amalgamverse exists outside of either universe, and the versus team-ups that they did in the 90s technically exist outside of either universe. I don't know if the newest versus team-up is in universe for anything. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure that's in Elseworlds too. So, like, it would be interesting to see just a random cast of characters play all of the superheroes for one movie. I don't know if they'd still be interested after all this. These movies are emotionally draining, says another source. Snyderverse revival at the same time the Russos reshape Marvel creates a moment fans haven't seen in years. If interest keeps growing and the studios want a guaranteed hit, a Marvel vs. DC crossover becomes a real option. That is a very true statement. It's now up to the people in the room and the fans watching all of it play out. Marvel vs. DC crossover isn't confirmed, but it's still a topic of discussion behind the scenes. I'll have more as I hear it, and there's not been an update to this since, and this came out on the 23rd, so just a couple days before Thanksgiving. And then, like I said, we do have one more related piece before we officially drop this whole Trump in the entertainment world. Like, I mean, I understand the fascination, and I understand it gets clicks, but I don't understand the extent to which we are dragging this out just because Trump's name is kind of sort of a little bit attached down the road. But so this one, we have Lily Wachowski. So not Lana, not the one who made the 4th Matrix movie. That was Lana Wachowski. This is Lily Wachowski, unimpressed by Trump admins' The Matrix obsession. quote, right-wing ideology appropriates absolutely everything, unquote. That is the that is the title of the article. Bounding into Comics has just incredibly long article titles rather. I don't understand it, but whatever. So the article reads, and this is another thing that we have touched on a number of times throughout, honestly, kind of since Matrix Revolutions, or Matrix 4, which one was 4? Resurrection, there we go, came out. We've talked about it, kind of touched on it a couple of times, but we'll get into it. So while the United States' current Reddit-occupied government has a particular and almost overbearing appreciation for the Matrix. Red pill occupied government, maybe? In particular, its blue pill, red pill metaphor. Series co-creator Lily Wachowski views their fanaticism as yet another textbook example of how, quote, right-wing ideology appropriates absolutely everything, unquote. A heavy favorite of top Trump admin officials, including FBI Director Kash Patel, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino, Vice President J.D. Vance, and failed Doge Director, that's funny, Elon Musk, whose agency closed last week roughly 8 months ahead of schedule and with little to show for their wanton abuse of American citizens' private information. Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. that's fair. Said metaphor is usually used in reference to one taking the red pill and thus waking up to the truth of the world as based on Morpheus's iconic declaration to Neo in the first Matrix film. I mean, they did go with blue and red, the two political colors of the country from which they come. Like, that... Again, this is just prime example. This is the best example of left-wing content creators or left-wing directors, artists, we'll say, not understanding the message they're actually putting out. Trying to put out one thing, but actually putting out another. Quote, you take the red pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and you believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. Did I say red pill twice? You take the blue pill, the story ends. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Oh, it's such a great scene. And also, this, like, the fact that they legitimately had to film this three different times, effectively, because you have Morpheus in the A shot, we'll call it. This is the main frame of the shot, right? And then you have the one hand with the red pill, the one hand with the blue pill, and then you have two different, very obviously different Keanus, because this Keanu has his hand up. This Keanu's body posture is different in that you can see his shoulder is down and his hand is not up. So, like, it's just those little things. After you've seen this movie a million times like I have, it's those little things that's like, man, they really put a lot of love and care into making that movie. It's so good. Anyway, distractions aside, let's move on. However, despite the Matrix's co-option by right-wing ideologies, Wachowski says she's had to come to terms with the idea that any given piece of media will inevitably take on a life of its own, regardless of its creator's original intent or opinions. I mean, the original creator one of the original creators in the fourth movie made it a binary. So, whatever. Discussing her general creative process during a recent appearance in the So True with Caleb Heron podcast, Wachowski explained, I want my work to have a level of catharsis for myself, and so to do that, I need to put myself into my work. And if people want to read into it, you've just got to let it go. People are going to interpret it however they interpret it. Look at, all the crazy mutant theories and right-wing ideologies that the Matrix films helped create. Really? I'm just like, what are you doing? No, that's wrong. But I have to let it go to some extent or else I'm engaging in. You're never going to be able to make absolutely every single person believe what you initially intended. I think it would have been cool for... I can't even think of the character's name now. I think it would have been a cool thing as a, like, tertiary character. The one character who, she's the only one that wears the white leather when everybody else is wearing black, or the white vinyl, whatever the hell, when everybody else is wearing black. Originally, that character was supposed to be female in the real world and male in the Matrix. I think it would have been an interesting addition and it would have been tertiary, so it would have been, not distracting from the plot. It wouldn't have been a point that they felt like they had to make out in the open and beat us over the head with it. It just would have been an interesting little thing, right? So, but they didn't end up doing it for reasons that I think we've already talked about, or tried to figure out. I think a lot of that stuff is like, I think you're trying to shoehorn in some modern narrative stuff into something that happened way before you ever had those ideas. But the article continues. From there, specifically pressed by Heron as to, quote, how you've dealt with these loser freaks co-opting this thing to make it something it's not, unquote. Wachowski again chose patience, commendable, and declared, I have no idea. I don't make stuff anymore with the idea that I want it to reach as many people as possible. I make to make, right? It's like you just finished. Sorry, it's harder. It's much easier to read when people are writing, not when you're transcribing words that somebody was speaking. So I apologize. This is a little bit rough, but it's like you just finished Trash Mountain, an upcoming comedy film starring Heron, for which Wachowski originally signed on to direct, but has since headed off her duties to fledgling director Chris Swanberg. That experience is the reason you're there, not what comes after, so I try to be as present as possible. Now, this isn't what I always did. It's taken me a while to get to this point of view. I want to be present and relish every single day of the making that I have, because the beauty of filmmaking is that you get to come together in this community, all these different artists, and bring this thing that is in your brain into this new form. And that new form is a collective art piece. And so when I think about The Matrix and the success it had, that's something that I think artists or filmmakers or any artist really, they place too much emphasis on those kind of successes. And I don't think that's necessarily a success. She continues, it's like right-wing ideology appropriates absolutely everything. They appropriate left-wing points of view, and they mutate them for their... What left-wing point of view did the right ever appropriate? That's ridiculous. To obfuscate what the real message is. That is what fascism does. So, of course, you're going, all right, again, I'm going to plug the other channel, because I have started another channel. I did a whole video about people who just throw around the word fascism and kind of how to negate that in your conversation with them, because you're just calling names. Like Lily, Lily is just calling names at this point, because I would be very surprised if Lily really understands what fascism is, but that's neither here nor there at this point. So, of course, it's going to happen. They do it with absolutely everything. I mean, sorry. There we go. I mean, look at Make America Healthy Again. The idea of putting scientific gender in the words of, where are they even putting this? To say there are only two biological genders, a reference to President Trump's January executive order regarding gender ideology extremism. They're calling science, but it's not science. That's what fascism... I mean, it is, though. So, again, example of somebody in the ideology not understanding the talking points of their own ideology. You have... Let's see if we can break this down in some sort of quick manner, all right? So, scientific gender... The only argument that I have heard that has any kind of room to carry any sort of water for this argument that Lily is trying to make here is we express ourselves. Self-expression is basically a series of electrical impulses in the brain, which makes it a physical thing, which makes it an interpretable thing, which means there are different ways to express and so on and so forth. So, like, that makes a little bit of sense how somebody could have experienced the world, have physically experienced the world, and that change the way that they go into self-expression. Like, that is as much of a logical explanation as I have heard for the trans argument out of anyone. Most people say it's just how you feel, and that's not an argument. So, everyone who is educated on the topic that I have heard make any sort of salient point on either side acknowledges one thing. Both sides acknowledge one thing, except for apparently Lily Wachowski, and that is that your biology, aka in this instance scientific gender, which is a weird thing, your biology means there is one of two options. You have XX chromosomes or XY chromosomes. We do not necessarily need to acknowledge, though these people do exist, the less than 1% of people who have some sort of mutation, because they are the exception. They are not the rule by any stretch of the imagination. That is, again, not to say that they don't exist, blah, blah, blah. So, the one thing that both sides pretty much without any argument can acknowledge is that biology is chromosomal and means XX or XY. That is scientific gender. It is the sex question, because they have decided that gender and sex are different. That is where the issue is primarily coming from. But that's not how Lily's acknowledging it here. So the fact that Lily is laughing at the idea and then calling it fascism, even though 99.9% of the people who would agree with Lily will cede this one point, is laughable in and of itself. So I'm sorry, we're spending way too much time on that argument. Makes these ideas, continuing on with the article, makes these ideas that are generally acknowledged as questions or investigations or truisms about humanity and life, and they turn them into something else. They remove the weight of what those things represent. Let's go back to the original argument, though, of co-opting Make America Healthy Again. That's a fun one, because how is that... It was, I will cede this ground to the argument, it was definitely a byproduct of capitalist society that got us into the horrible situation we are in with the general health standards of this country, of the Western world in general. Because if you could make it cheaper and faster, then it was considered to be better, and therefore that is what took dominance in the market. Largely because true capitalism is very difficult to achieve, because true capitalism would require that the people engaging on the consumer side of the capitalist agreement, that would require those people to be fully educated on everything they're giving their money to, right? So you would have to be able to fully educate the masses as to what all of these chemicals are in order for the market to truly decide which is the best. Because that is the when you break it down to its most basic elements, that is how capitalism works, right? The best thing wins because it's the best thing, and everybody realizes it's the best thing, so that's what they spend their money on. When you have corporatization and you have a system that lends itself to corporations being able to obfuscate or sometimes outright hide the things that they are putting into their products, or lie about them and lie about their health, since we're talking about food, lie about their health values, that's not an honest engagement in the capitalist market. And that's why it's very difficult, because you have to have some sort of balance. You have to have some sort of entity. In an ideal world, it would be a non-governmental entity, be an independent entity that would be able to educate everyone on all of the products that are ever sold anywhere. But that's not realistic, because that takes a lot of It's just not the way our society works in Western culture at all. So, yes, I will. Again, I will cede that it was a byproduct of a capitalist kind of adjacent, we'll call it, because it's corporatism. It's not capitalism, it's corporatism that got us here. And now that the science is to where it is, where we can educate the people and the people are seeing the horrible things that we've done, that's where MAHA comes from. That's where Make America Healthy Again comes from, because it was before we put all of these chemicals and all of these substitutions into our food that we were healthier as a whole. I don't know by how much, because life expectancy today is much greater than it was back then, but that's largely, there's extenuating factors there too. This is so not entertainment news, but like that you can't just brush by and in previous years, we wouldn't have done this because I wanted to just talk about the things that make us laugh and smile and have a good time when we're at the movies, we're reading comic books, we're playing video games, whatever. Like, that was the goal of the channel. But in recent months, we'll say, without getting too descriptive, I mean, I made a whole freaking video about why things were changing on the channel. But in recent months, I'm not just going to let statements like this pass by, because like that is part of the problem. That is part, like we were talking about previously, that is part of the problem of why there is a dominance on one side versus the other. Well, in my humble opinion, the wrong side, I would call it, because these people have had such a market dominance for so long because, again, we're not going to get too far into the weeds on that, but this is why, because conservative-minded people have just like let them make statements like this, and understanding in their own brains that that statement is incorrect, or that statement is misleading, or what have you, they just go, oh, whatever, they don't know what they're talking about, but they don't address it publicly. So we are addressing these things as they happen publicly these days. So, again, bird walking, and I apologize, but let's continue on with this. At present, Wachowski has no confirmed projects on her upcoming... On her upcoming schedule, she most recently served as an executive producer for Dolls, a short film retelling of the Stepford Wives with an all-trans cast, which is currently making its premiere on the independent film circuit. Oh, okay. I mean, like, there's a reason why this is the only thing we've heard from Lily in a long time. There's a reason why this, like in the general conversation of pop culture, right? There's a reason why that Lana hasn't done anything noteworthy except for The Matrix 4, hasn't done anything noteworthy in a long time, because they have made their ideology their entire life and nobody cares. So that is where we're going to drop that, and we're going to move into something, what was it? That. We are going to move into something a little bit more entertaining, I think. Where are we going? Let's go to God of War. We're going to start at the top of the list because we have God of War, new director for the series. God of War TV show, Amazon's God of War series, has powered up with a big name behind the camera. Frederick Iotoye, who is an Emmy winner for FX's Shogun and known for The Boys, Fallout, and Westworld, has signed on to direct the first 2 episodes of the live-action adaptation based on the hit PlayStation video game. That is cool as shit. I'm super excited about that. That is a pretty heavy roster of shows behind you. Shogun, The Boys, Fallout? Excuse me? Westworld also? I mean, the first 2 seasons anyway. Hopefully what he directed was something from the first 2 seasons. Likewise with The Boys. But still, Shogun was pretty good all the way through. Toye joins Ronald D. Moore, Battlestar Galactica, and For All Mankind. Again, a pretty hell of a resume. Who's showrunning the series. Moore took over the project last fall in a creative overhaul that helped move the long gestating show into active development. That's pretty freaking cool. Series now in pre-production in Vancouver with casting officially underway. Amazon has already greenlit God of War for 2, count them, 2 seasons. They said Fallout did amazing. God of War, I think, probably has better sales on the video game side of things, so it's theoretically going to do even better. Let's get a second friggin' season in there. Also, super stoked for the new season of Fallout, by the by. Kratos and Atreus are the roles now being cast. Atreus, sorry. God of War will follow the Norse storyline. Oh, interesting. Oh, I think we actually covered that before. Show will follow the pair on their journey to honor the final wish of Faye? I haven't played the Norse one, so I have no idea how these names are pronounced. I apologize. Their wife and mother, by spreading her ashes to the highest peak in the realms. As the story unfolds, Kratos tries to teach his son how to be a god, while Atreus tries to teach his father how to be a human. Aw, isn't it touching? God of War is co-produced with Sony Pictures Television and Amazon MGM Studios in association with PlayStation Productions. Moore's Tall Ship Productions is also involved under his overall Sony deal. Executive producers include Ronald D. Moore. These are all things Toye's Amazon resume. So, adding to the list, we have Fallout, Boys, Terminal List. That's cool. He just wrapped the opening episodes for Terminal List, Dark Wolf, and Blood Axe. His other directing credits include Lost, Watchmen. That one, maybe don't put that one on the resume next time. Person of Interest was a fun one. Procedural. I don't know if you didn't watch it. It was a procedural that had sci-fi elements to it. American Gods was actually quite good, and Snowpiercer, which was okay. I don't have anything against it. Deadline reported this news first. All right, so that's the God of War update. Let's talk about the Brendan Fraser update. So Brendan Fraser is pumped for The Mummy 4, but the project may be negatively impacting Evil Dead Rise director Lee Cronin's version of the Universal horror icon. Yes, that's right. Brendan Fraser is returning for another Mummy movie. It's going to be great, because apparently he really learned how to act. I do not see things. Okay, so fourth installment in the Mummy series starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz has been greenlit. Both actors are returning, and Fraser could not be more excited. The one I wanted to make is forthcoming, he told the AP via Sci-Fi Wire, and I've been waiting 20 years for this call. Sometimes it was loud, sometimes it was a faint telegraph. Now it's time to give the fans what they want. Almost 20 years ago now, the franchise switched tactics and traded Egypt for China in a critically panned sequel, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, that co-starred Jet Li and proceeded without Vice. The reason had a little to do with breaking into the Chinese market with a catch, according to Fraser. NBC had the rights to broadcast the Olympics that year, the actor said. So they put the two together, and we went to China, working in Shanghai, an incredible experience. I'm proud of the third one because I think it's a good standalone movie. We picked up and did what we do with a different crew on deck and gave it our best shot. That's fair. It's not a good movie, but that's fair. The only reason, it was just kind of a perfect dichotomy. All of the pieces for that first movie were just right in a lot of ways. Not that any of them were perfect in and of themselves, but the combination of them together was really damn close. Part 4 is likely returned to the stomping grounds of Egypt, favored by Mummy director Stephen Sommers. However, he will sit the next one out while Scream filmmaker Radio Silent. Oh, the two. That's right. Matt Open. Sorry, Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillette take the reins. This is great news for Fraser, and if you're a fan of the original series, and if your personal preference for Imhotep isn't Boris Karloff, like some of us, I don't know. I definitely prefer the Fraser movies to the Karloff movie. However, it might not be if you're rising horror director Lee Cronin and awaiting his mysterious next movie. The Evil Dead Rise helmer went on social media to tease his project with a scribbled over look at his script's front page. Later it was revealed the ancient evil he's taking on is the Mummy, but that has since changed to a degree. Oh, we covered that when it was originally announced, so this is new. Cronin's film is now titled The Resurrected, and may get eclipsed by the fourth crack at a summer blockbuster in this franchise. The former Blumhouse production is still being released next year, as far as we know, but tales of bad test screenings don't bode well. Yikes, man, because Evil Dead Rise was pretty solid, meaning there could be another Wolfman on the horizon. Oh, that sucks. That is highly unfortunate. So, continuing on, where are we going next? Where are we going next, Gunther? Let's do... We're going to do Stranger Things right before we go into Variety, I think. So we'll hold off on that. Let's go to Far Cry, because that's one that we also have talked about. So, Far Cry getting adopted into anthology series at FX. FX has greenlit a Far Cry TV series turning Ubisoft's long-running video game franchise into live-action anthology, which, hell yeah. The series comes from Noah Hawley, who, if you don't know that name, you simply must watch Fargo and Alien Earth, as it says right there. Also, he did... Oh, no. I was also on FX. Why am I having a brain fart? Legion. He did Legion, which was freaking awesome as well. So go check that out. From Noah Hawley and Rob McElhenney. Really? Who's Mac in It's Always Sunny. With McElhenney also set to star. At the very least... Oh, no. They might do it like American Horror Story, where they have like the same cast of actors, but they play different characters in each season. Because it's an anthology. So, like... Obviously, he has to be somebody different if he wants to continue with the franchise, right? Far Cry will stream on Hulu in the U.S. and Disney Plus internationally. Producers say the series will follow structure of the games. Each season features a new cast, new location, and standalone story. It mirrors what Hawley already does with Fargo, which uses new narrative each year built around the shared theme. Hawley explained why the franchise fits his approach. Each game is a variation of a theme, the same way each season of Fargo is a variation on the theme. We're just repeating ourselves now. McElhenney also praised the collaboration and the creative freedom behind the project. Getting to work alongside Noah Hawley is a dream realized, he said. Ubisoft has been remarkably generous, entrusting us with one of the most iconic video game worlds ever created. That is an accurate freaking statement. Thank you for being so self-aware, Mac. The network's leadership pointed to their long working history with both creatives. Nick Grad, president of FX Entertainment, said FX has had magnificent partnerships with Rob, Mac, and Noah Hawley for a combined 6 series and 32 seasons of television, and we couldn't be more excited that they are teaming up for Far Cry. Yeah, that is a hell of a production team right there. And if Noah is going to be like show running the damn thing, that's awesome. This is going to be one of the best shows on television. Like, we might... Yeah, I'm not going to say that, but this is good signs. Anyway, Hawley's last FX project, Alien Earth, which I'm still working on finishing. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, but I will finish it because it's really good. Recently scored a second season renewal after earning 92% Rotten Tomatoes score. McElhenney continues to produce Welcome to Wrexham, which remains a strong performer for the network. FXX is still definitely capitalizing on the fact that It's Always Sunny is the funniest damn show on television, so there's that as well. Since launching in 2004, Far Cry has reached more than 100 million unique players. The franchise is known for its fast-paced first-person combat, large open-world maps, and iconic villains. The most recent title, Far Cry 6, featured Giancarlo Esposito as Anton Castillo and was released in 2021. And then we just talked about Far Cry games. That's freaking cool. I love that. That's good news. One more quick thing of good news, it looks like. Paramount sets release dates for new Sonic and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie for 2028. That hurts my heart a little bit, but still, we have release dates at least. Paramount just locked in 2 major releases for 2028 holiday season as the studio doubles down on Sonic and TMNT. Both franchises are now cornerstones of the Skydance-controlled studio, and today's announcement makes it clear where Paramount is placing its biggest bets going forward. Finally, somebody actually believes in the damn Turtles. I'm stoked. The untitled live-action CG hybrid Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie will hit theaters November 17th of 2028. The date lands the film on the weekend before Thanksgiving, a prime slot for a film meant to appeal to everyone. Yes, please don't screw this one up. This is the same TMT reboot that was just announced, produced by Sonic franchise architect Neil H. Moritz, who was previously reported that Paramount is rebuilding the brand and moving away from the darker concepts like the canceled R-rated Last Ronin film. Oh, that's right. We were going to talk about that too. Thankfully, it's here. The Last Ronin movie, which was going to be awesome as well, which was going to be geared towards original fans of the Turtles, has been canceled. That sucks. It really sucks. Maybe, if this new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie does well, we will still potentially get a Last Ronin film down the road. Maybe not R-rated, maybe not doing exactly what we want it to, but PG-13 is not out of the question. So, Paramount owns TMNT outright, and the franchise remains extremely valuable under the studio. The three prior feature films have grossed nearly $913 million worldwide, and 2023 alone, TMNT merchandise cleared over $1 billion in global retail. There is a market for the Turtles. It's just the last few movies have not been great. The animated movie was all right. Like, I had fun. Definitely was a different take on the Turtles from what we got from the 80s cartoon, for what we got in the original 80s comic books. Definitely different from that, because that's more in line with Last Ronin. But either way, the animated sequel to 2023's Mutant Mayhem, directed by Jeff Rowe and produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Greenberg, is still set for September 17th of 2027. So that's the sequel to the animated movie we were just talking about. Sonic Universe movie hits December 22nd of 2028, just in time for Christmas. So they got Thanksgiving covered with the Turtles, and Sonic is covering Christmas for us in 2028. So 2028 is going to be really good for the inner child in me. December 22nd, 2028, the project comes from Moritz's original film and the Sega Sammy Group. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 opened last year with a strong $60.1 million domestic and went on to pull $236.1 million domestically, with $492.1 million worldwide. Sonic Trilogy has now earned $1.2 billion across the entire franchise. That's also good freaking news. I love it. You love to see it. Let's keep on trucking, keep on moving, baby. Was that everything we wanted to touch on before we got into Stranger Things? I think that is. I think we're going for Stranger Things now. Nope, I got one more, and then we're going for Stranger Things. One more thing, and this one was in the thumbnail, so my apologies it took us this long to get here. But we have Edgar Wright is still jaded about comic book movies after Ant-Man, despite interest in Barbarella remake with Sydney Sweeney. That's right, Sydney Sweeney might be doing a Barbarella remake. That's a sentence I didn't know I was ever going to say out loud. Running Man director Edgar Wright doesn't know when it will happen, but the modern auteur is still circling Barbarella as a future project, even with his experience on Ant-Man, which he ultimately didn't direct fresh in his mind. Yeah, sadly. I kind of forgot that Barbarella was a comic book, not going to lie. Anyway, he tells Josh Horowitz of Happy, Sad, Confused how his adaptation of the French magazine strip could be different from other superhero movies. I think if that did happen, it would be more of an adaptation of the source material, Wright said. So he wouldn't be referencing the movie with Jane Fonda from the 70s, I think is when that came out. He would add, after my experience with Ant-Man, I was not interested in superhero movies generally, but that doesn't mean I'm not interested in a comic book movie. Fair distinction. I'd love to do another comic book movie. What makes Barbarella so tantalizing in that regard is, quote, the books themselves are just beautiful and really imaginative and progressive. Well, we're kind of leaning away from that last word, at least the way you intended it to mean there, Mr. Edgar Wright. But we'll allow it because you're Edgar freaking Wright. In 1968, those books were turned into a feature film directed by Roger Vadim. 68, so I was close. Almost the 70s. Directed by Roger Vadim and starring Jane Fonda. That became a cult classic. Naturally, Wright is a fan because she's like naked through half of the movie, so why wouldn't he be? Like the movies of that era, they're all Italian movies and that have pop art sensibility. He said, legit, the art in that movie is really fun, but like it doesn't hold up. It really, really doesn't hold up. I'm not a fan of the Barbarella movie. Whatever. Love the original and probably watched that exactly the right age. Too young. The script is by Terry Southern, co-writer of Doctor Strangelove and Easy Rider. Though you can feel the Terry Southernness of it start to there's a lot that's in there, and when it's really sharp, it's great. It's beautiful to look at, and it's fun and subversive. I don't know how subversive it actually is, at least by today's standards. Again, I don't live in 1968, so I can't say how subversive it was then. But Wright also mentioned the far superior Danger Diabolic, which was based in the series of Italian Fumetti Digest comics about an anarchist vigilante. That property experienced a revival in its country of origin in the last few years, which could indicate an awakened appetite for it and Barbarella's genre. However, Wright used the words progressive and subversive signals. Hey, see, me and the author of this are picking up on the same language. Signals he might throw away millions of dollars again just to pander to the mythic modern audience and amuse himself. It worked out so well for the Running Man, after all. That, children, is sarcasm, because Running Man did horribly. It was a disaster. Legit watch the review by, what is his name? YouTube reviewer. Does all the things. He's the biggest, like, movie reviewer on the freaking platform, and I can't think of his name. Whatever. Starts with a J. Go watch his review. It's going to really drive me crazy until I can go look it up and remember his name. Jeremy Johns. Ha ha! Go watch his review, because it legit, he kind of outlines exactly what's wrong with that movie. Anyway, there's also a lingering question mark hovering over Sydney Sweeney's actual box office attractiveness. The Housemaid could provide a turn in her fortunes, but so far everything she has been in this year has sunk without a trace. That's also fair, because she is not exactly a good actor. She just has apparently the correct viewpoints right now. So that is the last thing that before we get into Stranger Things. Now, to start this off, I'm going to pause the background music. To start this off, I also have to do this. Hi, DC Kalen. How are you? Sorry that took me a moment to recognize you. I'm not actively looking at chat right now. So, we're gonna kind of skip around in a quartering video real quick, because I think he agrees with me in this, but I don't know for sure, and I don't want to watch his whole video because that's not what we're here for. But this kind of gets us into Stranger Things season 5 part 1. Because there's always controversy anymore.
Well, Stranger Things, I think it's the last season, is finally out. And over the weekend...
It's not out, Jeremy. It's not out.
About a particular scene in this season. And I do watch Stranger Things.
So let's hope he gets right to the issue. Because I haven't watched this at all. I just saw the headline and the thumbnail and was like, interesting. Just shut up, dude.
But Stranger Things, obviously a cultural phenomenon.
Yes.
And people are saying that there is those like and really see.
All right, looks like he's about to get there. All right, here we go.
It's pretty interesting. I do want to shout out. I opened up. We shipped all of our.
Yeah, I don't care about your stupid books and coffee. Yeah, shut up. Let's get to the damn thing. Oh, good Lord. Okay, here we go.
Netflix doesn't know exactly what it's doing with the opening of Stranger Things season 5. The scene is drenched.
Human events. That's the article. I don't want to listen to his voice ramble on, so we're just going to see if we can find the article. Human events. Human events. With an S. Welcome to Human Events. There we go. Because why listen to him read it when we can read it ourselves, right? Good Lord. Opinion. Jack Posobiec. Blah, blah, blah. Let's just search. Let's just do the damn search. I'll turn the tunes back on because it's too quiet now. All right. Stranger Things. Oh, I think this might be it. It's a piece by Posobiec. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Okay, so according to Jack Posobiec, this is an opinion piece, so that we're not going to take this as hard fact or anything, but opinion piece by Posobiec. Let's stop pretending Netflix knew exactly what it was doing at the opening of Stranger Things Season 5. The scene is drenched, absolutely soaked in themed horror symbolism to a child, and they aimed at imagery straight at a child character, counting on the audience to shrug because it's 2025 and everyone's too desensitized to object. And largely they were right. Season 5 opens with a flashback involving young Will Byers and the supervillain Vecna that is unmistakably charged with a heavy, uncomfortable symbolism of an inappropriate nature. Echoes the same dark, invasive body horror tone that defined Alien, and anyone familiar with that film's history knows why that matters. The creators of Alien openly stated the facehugger design represented themes of oral stuff and forced impregnation, a deliberate use of violent metaphor. So what did Netflix do? It borrows that alien imagery, that symbolism, and applies it to a child hero. I really don't think that's what this is. This isn't just dark sci-fi. This is deliberate. If you showed the scene to someone from the 50s, they'd lose their minds. They'd wonder how supposedly family-friendly, nostalgia-based shows spiraled into fetish-coded horror symbolism. They would not use that word. Aimed at a boy who's been a child character since episode 1, and their outrage would be justified. Hollywood's defense will be the same as always. It's just a metaphor. It's just horror language. It's all in your imagination. I mean, the last one is kind of on you there, Posobiec. That's legit. Netflix has been playing footsie with grooming and predator aesthetics for years. That is not an inaccurate statement. They never do it openly. They're too corporate for that, but they drip. No, they do it openly. The Cuties movie is exactly that. Exactly that. And also the mouth one. Oh, goodness. Why can't I think of it? The animated series with the kids that are going through puberty or whatever. Like, that is also fairly explicitly that. So, yes, they would do it openly. They have done it openly a number of times. Dip into the culture through implication, tone, symbolism, and repetition. They rely on plausible deniability, and they rely on viewers being too dulled and exhausted to push back. Look at how the show uses Will Byers. From the very beginning, his character has been written as vulnerable, isolated, emotionally targeted boy, and every time Hollywood leans into predatory symbolism around him, they frame Vecna not just as a monster, but as the classic psychology profile of a predator: isolating, manipulating, whispering, grooming. His father has left. He has trouble connecting with his family and friends. It's all the classic signs. I mean, there is a little bit to that argument, but I don't see it. I don't see that as an intentional sexual reference. Like, that is a bit of a stretch, man. And they're ratcheting up in Season 5 imagery lifted straight from a movie about violation, and people barely blink when it's done to a child. This is the real scandal. Not that Netflix crossed the line, but that Netflix knew the audience wouldn't care. They think America is so morally deadened. Oh, good Lord. Get off your grandstand, Posobiec. Will's character is now one long meditation on trauma. Trauma he can't name, trauma he can't shake, trauma the show keeps linking to his identity and isolation. It's the kind of trauma of a child who was violated. And Hollywood has a long, ugly history of connection. Is that the character of Will? Like, it's a trauma he can't shake. That's fair. It is not a trauma he can't name. He's actively named it. It repressed memories and stuff because that was a very violent thing that was done to him, apparently. Like, we're only now seeing that in season 5, but it was heavily implied previously. So this is quite a stretch, though maybe not as much of a stretch as I was originally thinking. It's still a stretch. Like, that you're still grasping at straws to make a splint. Like, that is not. No responsible storyteller takes the symbolic language of that violation, historically acknowledged, artistically intentional, and attaches it to a child character accidentally. Wow. And then we have to get some deeper conspiracy theory too. That's rough. That's honestly dumb. But that brings us into the review from Cosmic Book. Where the hell did it go? There it is. Nope. Well, that's what we're going to touch on after the fact. Where the hell did it go? I have it on here somewhere. I swear I do. There it is. Review of Volume 1, A Woke Dumpster Fire, according to Cosmic Book. I love the guys at Cosmic Book News, but I don't agree with them all the time. So, ending of Stranger Things is looking like Game of Thrones all over again, heading straight for disappointment. I think it's kind of the opposite. We'll get into that, but I really think that it's a little bit the opposite of Game of Thrones, whereas Game of Thrones started to fall apart because they were trying to align themselves with the ideology of the day. I think that Season 5 of Stranger Things is starting off stronger than Season 4 ever did because they're trying to align themselves with the way the culture is shifting again. So I think that's an incorrect statement. Netflix dropped the first 4 parts. Oh, by the way, spoilers if you care, because we're talking about the first 4 episodes of Season 5. I think I need to also go back here and do this because I did not do it. All right. Netflix dropped the first 4 parts of Volume 1 on Wednesday. I'll save you the trouble. Just watch the second half of Episode 4, and you'll get everything you need. Really, that's it. Review over. With most modern television, not all, but most, with most modern television, the way that they're doing it more as a movie, a very extended movie, in that we're getting a 10-hour movie effective, or 8-hour, because it'll be 4, 3, and 1, right? So 8-hour movie with some of the extended episodes maybe making it 10 hours. Anyway, modern television, we have these very short seasons, and effectively it's just one long movie, right? So that being said, there are still some episodes that, yeah, you could probably miss 1 or 2 in the middle of the action and understand the story just fine, but would you still enjoy the story? And I think there's a distinction to be drawn there, because you enjoy the journey a lot more than the destination. And that is what modern television is banking on, is that you're going to enjoy getting there. Whether or not there is the catharsis you want is another argument to be had, because that definitely is important as well, because, again, see Game of Thrones, but the getting there is also as important as the there. Because if you have a weak arc up to the action, you have a weak arc up to the important bits, then the important bits are less satisfying in and of themselves. But also, if you have this amazing build and then it fizzles out at the end, that's horribly unsatisfying. So the two factor into each other. So I very strongly don't agree with that. Maybe you could not have watched episode 2. Like, maybe episode 2 was a little disposable by comparison to 1 and 4, but I think you get a good you get the catch up that you need in episode 1. You see the time difference, because we do have that time the year or so that it's been since the last season, inside of the mythology of the show. It's been about a year since we were in the events of last season, even though it's been 2 years in the real world. 3 years, 2 years, whatever. So we get the updates on the characters. So episode 1 is important for that reason. Episode 2 kind of just furthers that. It starts a couple of the setups that you're going to need to finish the first volume, but they really start to drive those setups in, like they start to get their hooks into you in episode 3. You get a real quick introduction into a new tertiary character, which is a weird thing to do in this final season of a show that we know everybody's going to die. Well, a lot of people are going to die, theoretically. So it's weird that they introduce a new character, but it starts to make sense by the end of episode 3 and into episode 4. You're like, okay, I buy this new character is important, at least for this purpose. But again, episode 2 is where you're introduced to that character. You're introduced to this new idea of how Vecna is attacking more kids than just Will and Eleven. So that's kind of important, but again, they really start to hammer that home in episode 3, and then you're really buying into it by episode 4. So again, another reason why maybe episode 2 is skippable, but you still get character development, because that is the one thing that we're always complaining about when we get subpar movies that are driving narrative, or political narrative, over the actual narrative of the story. Is a lot of people, not all the people, but a lot of people who disagree with the what is becoming less and less the social narrative of the day. The people who largely disagree with that oftentimes will say, it's fine if you want to make these points, but do it while also telling a good story, while also doing these good things, and I won't have an issue with it. Like, I've made that exact point a number of times about things that we talk about on the show. So to dismiss when they do those things completely subverts your own argument, because that is another argument that has been made a number of times on Cosmic Book. I think that the character development that we get in episode 2, while not in any sort of depth, is still important. We still see how these relationships have changed since we last saw these characters. It is an extension of episode 1. I think that's important. It's less important. It's less entertaining than episode 1. It's less entertaining, obviously, than episode 4, but it's still fairly important. So, yeah, I think that's kind of a dumb... So the review goes on to say, everything you'll skip is a mixed bag of bad acting, useless filler dialogue, and, quote, woke moments that have no business being in a kid's 1980s adventure series. There are way too many characters, and it all plays like a giant mess. It is a little messy. I will grant that. It's definitely strong C+ overall until you get to episode 4, where it starts to really pick up. But comparing the Stranger Things, if Stranger Things is the bar, then I would say damn near 90% of other modern television shows do not pass that bar. They don't. If this is a C, if the first 3 episodes are a C, and then I would definitely give episode 4 a really hearty B. But if the first 3 episodes are a C, the rest of television anymore is failing poorly, just abysmally. So again, this is. I want to be the first person to shit on the thing. I think little edgelordy, which happens sometimes on Cosmic Book, but it's also obvious Netflix forced them to stretch the episodes to squeeze out as many viewing minutes as possible, just like they did with Squid Game Season 2, which wasn't good either. I think that's a little justified. I don't think we needed an episode that was an hour and 40 minutes long in the first. I can see doing that for the final episode, maybe even the final 2 episodes, but I don't think any of these 4 episodes needed to be that long. There's some bloat in there that could have been shaved out. So that is a fair argument to be made. Forced politics and unnecessary scenes. One scene takes a shot at Republicans for absolutely no reason. A wealthy family sits at dinner. The doorbell rings. The mom tells her kid to be polite unless it's a Mormon. Mom then eye rolls, which she was likely directed to do, or a Democrat. Which is funny. Like, that was legitimately funny. Go back and watch old Johnny Carson episodes. Like, they're on Pluto. You can watch them for free. Go back and watch old Johnny Carson episodes back when it was far less likely to be a Democrat in Hollywood. It still wasn't unheard of. Like, that's never been a thing, but it was more common to have conservatives. Carson was conservative. He made jokes regularly that were in line with something like this. So, yes, that absolutely fits in this universe and was legitimately funny. I laughed, and I'm both of those. Well, not Democrat, but I was raised LDS and am conservative. So I don't understand how that's a shot at Republicans. That's just ridiculous. Obviously, she's coded as Republican, fair, and the scene bends over backwards to mock the whole family. Then Lucas, it does not. It's not mocking the family. Lucas cracks a line about the daughter wanting fur coats. We know what this means. Is that some sort of allusion to, like, a lesbian affair? Like, I don't... That's a rich joke. That's not a Republican joke. Puppies for a fur coat. Like, that is not a lesbian joke. That is animal cruelty joke. Like, let's stop grasping at straws, because the truth is enough. As Crowder says regularly, the truth is enough. It gets worse, according to this review. The forced LGBTQ insertions, not forced. They established that this character was gay. It feels like half the writers and producers self-inserted the LGBTQ elements, or because Netflix paid for DEI quotas, likely both. Robin should have been cut entirely. Every line she delivers is annoying and too much. She exists only to fulfill checkbox requirements. Robin's gay, the actress is gay, and the writers gave her a scene where she calls people rich white douchebags for no reason other than projecting their own views. A gay woman, or a gay... I guess technically she would be close to 20 at this point, so we can call her a woman, but still, we'll say teenager. A gay teenager in the 80s is going to have these opinions. Yes, I agree. Sometimes her dialogue is like, oi, like, why are we going for a comedic beat right now? But she's still fairly... I don't know. She might be less important than I want to give her credit for, just because I think that the actress is fairly dynamic and... like, she fits, but that's just me. Let's hear the context. I'll turn down the music, I guess. Let's turn down the music. Because if we turn it off, then we might get flagged, but... She does not say rich white douchebags. She says rich douchebags. She says white collar criminals. Oh my good lord, dude. That is so taken out of context. White-collar criminals is different than calling these rich white douchebags. White-collar criminals is a colloquialism that has existed for a long time. Like, that is not... So, like... Oh, again, this feels like edgelord. I'm going to be the first person to shit on this kind of behavior. This is not a review done in good faith. Then there's a bizarre I don't like dick exchange. That was hilarious. if you're looking for something to be offended by, then I guess that's something legitimately to be offended by because you're that opposed to homosexuality. But like, that was freaking hilarious. The entire moment exists solely so she can announce she's gay. No, it is what is called irony, because she's not actually referring to penises. She's referring to something else. And it just lines up with the fact that she also happens to be gay. But not everybody in the scene knows that she's gay, and that's why it's funny. I thought it was only the left that didn't understand humor here, guys. Come on, what the hell? Apparently already knows, but though everyone apparently already... No, they don't. In the scene, there's at least one character, I think it's two characters, that don't know that she's gay, and that comes across as exceedingly funny. Oh, this scene was created for her too, obviously. No, that leads to Will. All right, so this is where I think I'm going to deviate even harder from this. I guess Noah Schnapp is gay in real life, so the kid who plays Will recently revealed that the woke media was hitting on him when he was 13 years old by asking him if he was gay. Bunch of weirdos. That's, not the first time we've heard such things about the media, right? Anyway, Will saw Robin, another girl kissing, the only kiss between any of the characters in all 4 episodes, and the only characters in a relationship, even though, no, that's not true either. But okay, even though the chances of that happening are only around 2%, that is legitimately fair. Obviously, we know what Will was thinking. Will and Robin have a heart-to-heart about what it feels like to be in love or whatever. This ties into the end, which is more garbage. This did feel a little bit forced. I will definitely cede the ground that while it was mildly implied previously that Will might be gay, it was not any sort of focus about any of the characters aside from Robin, because kind of obviously, which they play in a way that works. So what the hell? Who cares? But it is now much more heavily implied that Will is gay, and also much more heavily implied that Will has a crush on... I'm not going to remember the kid's name, the character's name, but his best friend, the one that's dating Al, because that's a relationship. That's not the only... Robin is not the only one in a relationship. Elle and what's his name, we're going to read it here in a second, and I'm going to go, oh my God, I'm an idiot. But then also his sister and one of the two guys, even though the two guys are still competing for her, she's actively in a relationship with one of those two guys. So Will's big brother, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, continuing on. Oh, he's going to talk about that. All right, well, here we go. So the plot is pretty good. He definitely acknowledges that, because yes, it freaking is. They could have cut out a lot and probably made this a good 2-hour movie, not 4 overstretched and overdrawn out episodes. Again, I will definitely acknowledge there is some bloat. You could have made each of these a succinct 45 minutes and you'd have been good. Vecna is still alive, and now he's kidnapping young kids, just as he did with Will years ago. Again, all you have to do is skip to the last half of episode 4. Nothing else matters. Not true, because that gets established in episode 3. We see that in episode 3. They start to come to the realization. Again, the journey is just as important as the destination, guys. Steve, Jonathan, Nancy. So Nancy's the sister. Steve is the kid with the hair, and Jonathan's Will's big brother. Nancy and Jonathan are dating. I'm 90% certain that is still a thing here. They don't acknowledge it explicitly, aside from his competition with Steve, but like it's still, as far as I know, that's still canon. So correct me if I'm wrong, please. The Steve Dustin stuff gets older even faster. Hopper 11 relationship is just as old. No, the hell it's not. I strongly disagree with this. Oh my God. All right, so Steve Dustin stuff gets old even faster. So Steve Dustin, the last time we left them, were buddy-buddy. They were like homies. And now they're at each other's throats. So there's some sort of conflict there that has happened over the course of the last year since we saw them that we need to delve into. So, yes, I feel like they're beating us over the head with it a little bit, and they're not revealing the conflict because likely that's going to come out in the next set of episodes. But I don't think it gets old. I think it's highly confusing and unnecessarily so, but it's not old. Hopper 11 relationship is, they're claiming, is just as old, is also not super fair because Hopper was in a Russian prison for a good chunk of the last chunk of what we saw. Like, so he's trying to be a dad again, and like, how do you be a dad to somebody like 11? Like, that's just yeah. They're trying to keep Millie Bobby Brown like she's still 10 years old. She obviously isn't. No, they're not. They fully acknowledge that she is a growing young woman. By the end of episode 4, which again, that kind of factors into his point of just watch to the end of episode 4 and you'll get everything you need. By the end of episode 4, you see Hopper's fatherly nature kind of reveal the true intentions behind the way he's treating 11. He acknowledges that she's done well, that she did a good thing, that she's doing this amazing job. I think that shows freaking development. This is exactly what we complain about when we get nothing but woke garbage as our entertainment. And now that we're getting it in a way that works, we're still complaining about it because it's unnecessary. What the hell? Annoying real-world mistakes. Some other things that bugged me. The flag up on a mailbox means you have outgoing mail. It's used to tell the mailman to pick up the mail. It doesn't mean you've got mail. Once the mailman picks up the mail, he will lower it, signaling that I don't remember that, so it obviously didn't bug me enough. Or how about when they were jumping the cars? That bugged me too. So the Jeep driver should have revved the engine and kept it steady to charge the other. Oh, fair, but they're teenagers, so the revving part was not exactly like it. The car was on, so it's not like it's totally egregious. Also, turning the engine over and over before the battery is charged would have further drained the battery. That's true, and I think they kind of acknowledge that to a certain degree in that. Yeah, I noticed these things. I was having similar thoughts, but like, they learned the lesson in the scene, so I don't understand why he's got such an issue with it. And then the forced ending in season 2 callback. Or how about that ending? All right, this is huge spoiler. If you have not watched episode 4 of the first part of Stranger Things season 5, this is a major reveal. So once again, spoiler warning. But how about that ending? So you want to tell me they always planned from day one that Will was going to be gay, that the writers knew back when Schnapp was a little kid that this is how the story would end? BS. Doubt me. The woke media is already celebrating it. So Will being gay suddenly turns him into Neo? What the hell? I don't think that the two are related. I think that much the way Star Wars evolved as Lucas was creating it, I think that to a certain degree, Stranger Things has evolved in a similar fashion. I don't know that the explicit sexual nature of their characters was ever really planned aside from Robin. I think she obviously was an LGBTQ checkmark. She still pretty much works in the series, so that's fine. But I think that the allusions to Will's sexuality from the previous season, because I don't think they did it in season 3, but they definitely did it in season 4. And they definitely did not do it in seasons 1 or 2. But the allusions to Will's homosexuality, I think, are seeds that they planted that they kind of have to continue with. I think Will becoming Neo, as they put it, Will gaining these powers is more of a byproduct. And like I said, we're going to get there. So here we are. More of a byproduct of the current shift in culture. Because I'm pretty sure the way that they've been setting this up for so long is originally they were going to have 11 spar against Vecna. It was going to be a big battle between 11 and Vecna, and that was going to be the ultimate, the end of Vecna's. Once they finally got 11, it was going to be probably some sort of part where Vecna had her down, and it was like this big tense moment, and then one of the kids comes in, or all of the kids come in somehow into the scene, and they lend her their support, and through their powers combined, she is Captain Vecna Killer. So like that, I think, is what they were driving towards, because to a certain degree, though I don't necessarily agree with this, to a certain degree, I think people are making an argument along the lines of 11 being a little bit of a Mary Sue, though there has been plenty of struggle for her to get to where she is. She was given these powers, and therefore, you know, it's not fully earned somehow. I understand the Mary Sue argument. I don't understand it in this instance. But also, with the focus being on her, and with, again, woke culture starting to die off, I think they're getting ahead of the curve, and they're splitting those powers between 11 and Will. I think that they saw an opportunity to capitalize on the fact that they had a male character. I think that the fact that he may or may not actually be, because they still haven't said it explicitly, they're only heavily implying, but the fact that he may or may not be homosexual is definitely secondary to the fact that he is male, and that he is going to also be key in the destruction of Vecna. I don't think that those two things are related. So I think the Will thing is a result of the most recent 2 years of development, and I think the gay thing, the Neo thing, is the most recent 2 years of development, and the gay thing is a seed that was planted in the development for season 4. So, and potentially even during season 3, but I don't remember it being a thing in season 3. The ending also drags back a character from the dreaded season 2, the season everyone hated. Not true. I hated the middle section of season 2, but I thought it started strong and ended fairly okay. I just thought that the middle bits were not so great. Anyway, even 11 ran off with that group of goth kids. Just garbage. I think she's LGBTQ as well. Oh yeah, they don't say it explicitly, but the sister comes back. She's number 8. And the friend of mine at work at the day job called it and was like, this is what I think. And I had already watched the episodes, and I was like, oh my God, how did he figure that out? And I was like, oh, but I guess because he told me his evidence. I was like, oh yeah, that's fair. You just saw it before I did, because I was too busy having fun with all of the killing, or the fighting of the Demogorgons and all that. Also, character design on the Demogorgons, character design in general for this season was freaking great. The Demogorgons got beefy. So did Vecna. Holy crap. But they do a decent job. It's a very difficult thing to do, but they do a decent job of making these 20-something kids look like they still might be in high school. They definitely do a better job with these guys than they have done in previous TV shows like, you know, Saved by the Bell and whatnot, back when we were watching TV as kids, to make them look like they're age appropriate. So, continuing on with this, the end also drags back blah, 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 blah. I think she's LGBTQ as well. I don't know that they ever explicitly say that, but it's kind of implied with the haircut and some of the things that were said in season 2, but whatever. None of it feels organic. It's all shoved into the plot, a big forced mess. I think that the inclusion of 8 is shoved in. That's fair. That is why I would only give episode 4 a B and not an A, because like that felt really ham-fisted. Like, oh yeah, you hated this episode, well now it's relevant again. Like, no, you really could have still had this character, this actor even, in this exact spot, and still not done that episode in season 2, and it would have the exact same amount of impact. So like, no, that episode in season 2 was not important. Anyway, a few things that actually worked. All right, let's see if we agree here. So what I liked was the Vecna stuff. The little girl and Sadie Sink stuff was interesting as well. The little girl being Holly, the little sister of... Is that Will's little? No, that's not Will's little sister. It's what's her name? Oh goodness, what is her name? I just said it. Nancy's little sister. Nancy's little sister Holly, who I kind of forgot existed. Not gonna lie. Also, she's played by a new actor in this season, so there's that. Sadie Sink stuff was interesting and revealing. They should have cut out or significantly cut down on Robin. Even though I think the character works, I think that's fair. Joyce and Jonathan. Yeah, I don't know how much of that I agree with, but I'm sure there's plenty. That's a good chunk of where the bloat is coming from. So sure, what they really should have done is just focused on the core group of kids, 11 and Hopper. That is true. That is what built this franchise from the core. That is exactly where all of the seasons should have focused. That's not exclusive to season 5 though. So there's that. Verdict: Volume 1 is bloated, forced, and full of pointless filler. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not agreeing with this. Vecna material is the only parts that worked, buried under an avalanche of bad writing, shoehorn politics, and characters who... The shoehorn politics, you really have to be digging for it in order to find that. And I don't know how much of that was intentional. Show's lost its spark that made it special, and this is the direction for the... If this is the direction for the finale, Stranger Things is ending with a whimper. 4 out of 10. Oh, Matt, I don't agree, bud. I don't agree. But I think that is all of the things. Oh, and then we're going to go through this list real quick. We're actually not going to go through the whole list. We're only going to go through the top, we'll say 20. Let's say 20. Oh, good no. Let's start at Caddyshack, shall we? Because I agree with this movie. I agree with this being on the 100 funniest movies of all time. Just the first one, though, not the second one. Definitely Bill Murray is a large part of this, but also Chevy Chase. Why can't I think of his name? Rodney Dangerfield. There we go. Just an all-time classic. I think it probably should have been a little bit higher up, but that's just my bias, perhaps. Bank Dick, I've never seen, so I cannot speak to it. Superbad being number 20. Maybe we should have started at 20. That's fair. I honestly think I 100% agree that is where that belongs. This is the variety top. Oh, hey. Let's, I forgot to do this again. Crap. I'm going to have to get used to I've implemented things in OBS, and so we're getting used to them being there. Anyway. So, Superbad being number 20, I think is fair and accurate. Yeah, absolutely. Jonah Hill, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Michael Cera, freaking classic. Why is VLC stuttering? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway. Happened One Night, 1934. Never seen it. Can't speak to it. This is Spinal Tap at number 18. 18? I don't know. I guess it could have been a little bit lower, but it definitely deserves to be on the list. Heartbreak Kid. Honestly, have not seen that one either. Which I think is a little weird, honestly. Oh, I think I saw the Ben Stiller remake, which is why that looked weird to me. His Girl Friday is a classic. It definitely deserves to be on this list. Top 20, though? Sure. Yeah, Cary Grant. Yeah, I'm down for it. It's an all right spot for it to be. Playtime, 1967. I don't know. I've never seen that one. It is a French movie, apparently. Which, I don't know that it said explicitly that this is... I mean, it does say movies of all time, so theoretically, French movies count. I just feel like maybe something with a little bit more broad appeal. Sideways, even though Paul Giamatti is always a win, I've never seen it. It's just one of those movies that I've always been like, I should watch that sometime. Especially, I like Thomas Hayden Church, too. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, is a classic. Definitely deserves to be on here. Potentially should have been top 10. Not going to lie. Tootsie, yeah. Maybe not top 15. Top 20, sure, but top... even top 20, I think, is a little bit of a stretch for Tootsie. I love Dustin Hoffman, but not his best comedy. Sherlock Jr., never seen it, can't speak to it. Groundhog Day, absolutely top 10 comedy movie of all time. If it's something that a vast majority of the population watches at least once a year, if not with some sort of regularity, because got to be honest, we watch it probably 2 or 3 times a year because it's just that good. Again, Bill Murray is always a win. So Groundhog Day, number 10, sure. Young Frankenstein beats out Groundhog Day. Absolutely. Yes, please. Give me more Mel Brooks on this list, please. Fargo, yeah. Top 10, though, might be a little bit of a stretch. Coen Brothers, yes. Fargo from the all right. If it's gonna be Coen Brothers in the top 10, Fargo definitely should be the one that it is. Duck Soup is the Marx Brothers, and I've never seen it, but I am familiar with the Marx Brothers, so I understand why they put it where it is. Monty Python and Holy Grail is number 6, not even in the top 5 with Holy Grail. Really? Like, that's a top 3 comedy for me, though. Come on now. Monty Python and the Holy Grail is absolutely classic. This is what got so many people in my generation into British humor. Like, because I didn't know, I have no, or at the time at least, had no concept of the differences in the subtleties of British humor versus American humor. But when you see Monty Python and you see other things that they were associated with thereafter and also before, like, it's like, oh, I'm totally in on this joke now. That's awesome. Yeah, Monty Python is definitely a top 3. Waiting for Guffman. Oh, I have seen this. Another mockumentary, though. I really don't remember it. Christopher Guest. So, again, I understand it. I don't remember that movie. So, top 10? No. The Great Dictator, Charlie Chaplin. This is a classic, but is it top 5 worthy for... I don't... That's a rough call because Charlie Chaplin is definitely classic material. Is The Great Dictator influential and still hold up well enough in order to qualify for a top 5 placement? I just don't think that's legitimate. I am not a huge Woody Allen fan. I do like some of his stuff. Annie Hall is not really one of the ones I love. I really wouldn't have put that in the top 3. I wouldn't have put that in the top 20. If you're going to have to put a Woody Allen movie up here, though, I can see why that's the one that got chosen. It's not my choice. Some Like It Hot is great. Is not number 2, but it is great. It is freaking hilarious. This one is probably one of those that maybe I wouldn't put it in my personal top 10, but I could see how it would make it on the top 10 of the 100 funniest movies of all time. And then Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad. So the very first Naked Gun movie, which was kind of just the greatest hits from the TV show Police Squad, Leslie Nielsen included. I think this is a secondary movie. It absolutely deserves to be on the 100 funniest movies of all time, 100%. Number 1, though, because this is... Because the reason this did well when it came out is because movies like Airplane existed previously. So again, Mel Brooks, because Mel Brooks is comedy god. Airplane, I think, and I saw a study. I was through something like Variety, so who knows how scientific it was. But I saw a study years ago where they analyzed like movies that were voted to be the funniest movie of all time. And Airplane actually won. This was actually not that many years ago. It was probably 5, maybe 8 years ago tops. Where it was analyzed that Airplane had the most laughs per minute of any movie up until that point. And I legitimately think that a lot of that humor still holds up. A lot of that humor. I don't think that was Mel Brooks, actually, now that I'm in the middle of talking about it. I think that was somebody else that did it. But either way, Airplane, if you're ever making a list like this, is always number 1. Like, that's without a doubt. And Airplane 2 should be like, if you're doing top 100, should be like number 55 because it's also worthy of being on the list, just not nearly as worthy as number 1. But Airplane 1, the existence of that kind of parody, while I'm sure it existed previous to the the first Airplane movie, is not is largely due to the existence of that Airplane movie. The reason that it was allowed to proliferate, the reason that it was that audiences were able to latch on to something like the Naked Gun movies, and then later on like Scary Movie and all of those ridiculous ones that got way out of control. But that kind of parody in its novel form is Airplane. Airplane crawled so that Naked Gun could walk, I guess you could say. And also, I think Airplane is just generally a funnier damn movie than Naked Gun. Naked Gun's great. I would probably put it top 20, top 15 maybe even, but not. I don't know if I would go so far as to say top 10. I think that the lack of other like slightly more dark comedies like In Bruges not being in this is a dramatic oversight. Something About Mary, I know that's not even in the entire list. I heard people talking about it. That's why I wanted to talk about it here on today's stream. But the fact that Something About Mary isn't on this list at all is a major oversight. There isn't a single, as far as I understand it, again, we didn't go through the entirety. We just went through the top 20. The fact that there isn't a single Will Ferrell movie on this list at all, Anchorman, Talladega Nights, like neither of those movies is on here, really. Let's see, is there? We're gonna search. Is there an Adam Sandler movie on here? Because one of two. So it mentions Adam Sandler twice. Wow. Really? Waterboy is the choice for an Adam Sandler movie? Really? Not Billy Madison, not Happy Gilmore, which the Happy Gilmore 2 aside, Happy Gilmore 1 is a comedy classic. Waterboy is the one they go with. Not throwing any shade at Waterboy. It is one of the few movies of my movie watching career that I have had to. I don't think I saw it in theaters, because if I did, I would have created a scene. I'm pretty sure the first time I saw it was on DVD, maybe even VHS. 98, very probable VHS. What the scene where the other school is experimenting with the towel boy and the kid just gets clotheslined. I was laughing so hard I had to pause the movie because I was still laughing like 5 minutes later. So again, not throwing shade at Waterboy. I just think that Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore outclass this, are definitely much more quality comedies, if that makes any sense. So that's very interesting that they went with Waterboy. But, no Will Ferrell on this list is a rough one. Because, like, of the last two generations, I don't know, the last maybe since COVID, we'll say, he hasn't really done anything noteworthy. But previous to that, the last two generations of film cycle, so roughly 20 to 30 years, he's kind of been one of the greatest comedic actors of all time. Definitely one of the greatest comedic actors of those last 30 years, approximately. Like, the dude is just a comedic genius, and he's not on here at all. Come on, Variety. Let's get our heads out of our collective asses, shall we? Bringing Up Baby, that's a good one. I actually really like that movie. It's one of my girlfriend's favorite movies, matter of fact. Being John Malkovich. All-time comedies, John Malkovich makes the cut. Oh God! All right, we're done. I'm over this. I'm so over this 100 quote-unquote best. That's disappointing. All right, so that being said, nerds, we are going to be. That looks really weird. Let's do it this way. Here, there we go. All right. So we are going to be leaving you with... Oh, I still have the music way down, don't I? Whatever. We're coming to the end of the news portion. Not 100% sure I will be back with the gaming portion, but we are done with the news. So I would like to thank you very much, nerds, for sticking around if you are still here. I know chat kind of got up there for a little while, so much appreciated. But, oh, and also, I guess I'm not keeping an eye on this one because it's one of the things that's driving me nuts. Rumble Studio. Yeah, still driving me nuts. So, whatever. Get bent, Rumble. That sucks. Anyway, distracted. Thank you very much, nerds, for sticking around. Assuming I don't come back, we will see you in the next one. There is a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff. This off-season, I need to mention this. This off-season is going to be extended. There is a pretty dramatic shift in my personal life that is about to happen, and that is going to necessitate not having a studio for some weeks. I might get into actual details later if anybody gives a shit, but as it stands right now, that's what I'm leaving you with. So thank you very much, nerds, again, for joining. We will see you next time before we take this break and potentially come back for a little bit of Mortal Kombat action. I was considering playing Death Stranding today, but this stream went longer than anticipated. All of that analysis and explaining myself. So if I come back, we'll see you in a minute. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining me. We will see you next time. Before we go, always remember that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here. Okay. Why, that's muted. Well, we are back. Only going to do a few. Because, like I said, we did go quite long. I had to get a little bit of food in me, so here we are. Oh, I did not mean to say yes to that. Whoops. Cornholio 23. I'm still 4 positive. That's pretty good. I have had a rough run the last couple days.
Father would be ashamed of you, only because he lacked
Round 1. Fight!
Yeah. Oh, I fell for it. Yep.
You are pathetic and weak.
Round 2. Fight!
Shit. Damn it. Fucking lag.
Sub-Zero wins.
That was garbage. My combo would have killed it if I hadn't lagged out.
Round 1. Fight!
See, because that would have killed him, and that's a smaller combo.
You have no honor.
Round 2. Fight.
Peace outside. Peace outside. Yeah, I thought you might do that.
I expected more.
Brutality. Scorpion wins.
Let's go. 196, really?
Round one. Fight.
Okay. You went for it early this time. All right. What is up with this lag?
You will burn, Leon.
Round two. Fight.
Do it. Bye-bye.
I expected more.
Brutality. Scorpion wins.
Did he stay? Did he stay? Oh, that is the question. Nope, he didn't. What is making noise? Let's see. This way? Something is making noise. Why is it something not sure? I don't know what is picking up on the desktop. I'll turn it down, whatever it is. I'll live mountain, 346, and a scorpion player apparently. So this is going to be annoying. Herd.
Were you also
Round one. Fight.
Double scorpion player. Oh. Kinda didn't see that he EX'd that. Okay. Going for silly traps. Okay. There it is. That was dumb.
you lack discipline?
Round two. Fight.
That was dumb too, bud.
My fire burns.
No! Damn it! Ah! Yeah.
Finish him.
What are you gonna do? Okay.
Scorpion wins.
Not quite as annoying as I was thinking it was gonna be, but still kind of annoying.
Round one. Fight.
Why did I duck? Why did I duck? I knew it was coming. I ducked anyway. No! Really? EX? Why would you EX on me? You really feel like I'm running out here.
Burned to a cinder.
That seems
Round
unnecessary.
two. Fight.
I guess it works. Oh, and then with the EX again. There we go. He thinks he can do that every time. Now I just have to set that up again.
Final round. Fight.
I think I just flawlessed that round. Peace outside, homie.
Scorpion wins. Round one, fight.
Not gonna catch me with that one again.
Round two, fight.
Go! Maybe you will. One more for the road, I guess. Bye. Bye.
Brutality. Scorpion wins.
Talk a little text shit. They always accuse me of running. Ox Violet Comet. Like, no, I'm just strategically placing myself. I mean, that dude was also running. He was definitely crouch blocking across the screen whenever I would let him.
Fight!
No! Damn it. He did actually do it that time. He just didn't EX it until the second turn. Alright.
I mustn't lose control. Round 2. Fight.
Why does every Baraka player think it's this novel idea to poke and poke and poke the whole time? Oh! Damn. Oh wow, I didn't know that connected.
No honor.
Final round. Fight.
Oh, dang, that was cool. That's alright. Really cool. What? I'm doing it just because I'm a dick this time. That's the only reason.
Now you can rest.
Brutality. Scorpion wins. Round 1. Fight.
And that ends up doing more damage when you do it that way. Ah, I should just anti-air that. Whoa! I don't know how that didn't connect. That's stupid. That hits full screen damage.
I haven't much time left. Round 2. Fight.
Ah, anti-air that. Come on. Just like that. Give him the life lead. No! Damn it. Okay. That's right. Teabagging me for real?
Fatality. Baraka wins.
Really? Teabagging me. Okay. After I kind of worked you in the first match. Sure, to each their own, I suppose.
Round 1. Fight!
There it is. That's what I was expecting the first time. I'll do in one combo what it took you 2 combos to do. Oh. Alright, get smart. Damn it. Damn it.
I should have mastered. Round 2. Fight!
Burn it. Brutality. Baraka wins. Not the worst Baraka I've ever played against. Just one of the more annoying. Wireless at 71. I think this might be about our end. Oh, the music was still going. That's what that noise was that was picking up. Biger?
Liu Kang's placed great faith in us.
Round 1. Fight!
didn't go for the king, so okay, okay.
Round 2. Fight.
Oh, whoops, I was looking at the wrong bar. No! Really?
Finish him.
He's got
Smoke
the
wins.
game audio looped back in through his mic, so it's on a delay. It's throwing me off. But he's also pretty good, so like I already have a pretty weak matchup
I'll
against
never
Smoke
forgive
anyway.
Ihan.
That's just not
His
helping.
betrayal has seared both our hearts.
Round 1. Fight.
Why can people poke out but I can't?
Go up in smoke.
Round 2. Fight.
Oh, almost got it. He's only got 1 meter. Damn it! I saw it coming, I still got
Final round. Fight. Finish him. Scorpion wins.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe he learned something while we were fighting. I've played this dude before. I recognize that weird ass name. Learned. Maybe he did. The second interesting
Our
choice.
brother will not
Round 1. Fight.
Damn it. Damn it. Fell for that one. Oh, but he didn't get it. He didn't get it.
go up in smoke.
Round 2. Fight.
Why would you go right into that? That's the weakest, most unsafe move. No! Oh, no. Ah, there it is.
Finish him. Smoke wins.
Yeah, there's a chat history with this guy too, so yeah, I have played against him before. Okay, one more, win or lose. We have to be done. Have to. Let's go. Trash boat. Okay, sure. Still 4 positive.
The war you are fighting, you cannot win alone.
Ooh, I haven't
Tell that to my
gone
cousin
up against
quietly.
Takeda for a minute.
Round one. Fight.
That's what I was waiting for.
Round two. Fight.
Yeah, I knew you were trying something.
Finish him.
I did another flawless. Flawless round. Not a flawless match. Flawless round.
The war you are fighting, you cannot win.
Round one. Fight.
Oh, got it. Oh, nice. Bad read on mine. That was also a bad read on mine. Yeah.
It's not over yet.
Round two. Fight.
Horrible. Oh shit! No!
That was not blue.
Final
I have
round.
my striker back.
Fight.
I don't have any. I duck. That's what he was trying for the whole time.
Takeda wins.
You could have been one of us.
Round one. Fight!
Ooh, can you break 300? Nope. Oh, yeah. Oh, good read. Oh.
Shirai Ryu.
Round two. Fight.
Oh. No, nope. Damn it, that didn't kill. Yeah. If I'd have ducked, I could have ducked out of
Final
that.
round.
Oh, damn it.
Fight.
Okay. Ah!
Finish him.
That was so annoying because I'm better than that dude, but it's still whatever. I said that was the last one, that's the last one. You definitely should have played better than that, though. It's annoying. Let's go look at levels and then we're calling it a night. See where everybody lies. I hate how long it takes to load. You're basically loading text. Alright, so that makes sense that that was so sweaty, because he's about my same level. Likewise there. Definitely should have beat that guy. I'm pretty sure I did. Again, makes sense that that was so sweaty. And this is the first one I'm pretty sure that we fought. Makes sense that I beat him. All right. So, good times all around. Let's double check my rank. Oof, we're up to 12 almost. Yikes. I was down below 8 for a minute, but it's down. It was like 7,900 or something, 7,800 maybe, but yeah. This is as high as I've been for a couple weeks. Huh. All right, well. That is, as they say, that nerds. So, like I said, extended off season this year because reasons. So we will be just doing as much as we can to maintain and have fun, and I look forward to seeing you guys for future streams. We will eventually do something other than Mortal Kombat. I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to guarantee that because I am addicted, but we will do something hopefully eventually other than Mortal Kombat. Thank you very much, nerds, for sticking around. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember that if it is generally nerdy, it's